Welcome to AutoSave. My name is Nick Andrade, and I'm here with my co-host Camille Salazar Hadaway. And today we begin our journey into the brand spanking new game, Gotham Knights. Cam, are you excited?
What was that?
Oh,
I was like, was that your Joker impression or
no? I don't know what it was.
I wasn't too sure, but yes, I am excited. And obviously, we're not too serious here on the AutoSave podcast. You know what? I'm excited. I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'm going in to this game with an open mind. I'm just gonna have some fun, see what's out there, and then judge later.
Yes, there has been some mixed reviews on this game as it came out just a week ago. The first thing I wanted to get to is, why did we choose Gotham Knights? Why are we diving into the DC universe? I remember one of the times I asked you that question is because you said Nick wanted to do it, but I wanted to know what your reason is as to why you want to play this one.
Because Nick wanted to do it. No. I mean, we love Batman. We're both fans of like superhero movies, fans of Batman. We both are. Oh my, are we? I'm just now gonna put things into like the ether. We're both fans of the Arkham games. I feel like we are. 100%. I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of people, not just us, a lot of fans of all of that, looking at Gotham Knights when it was first revealed way back when, looked very promising as fans, as, somewhat maybe not a part of the Arkham, but inspired by them. So yeah, I think that's why we're hopping into it.
Yeah, we both love the Arkham games. We both love Batman, but this game developed by WB Montreal, which is different from 3 of the 4 Arkham games. Rocksteady Games is the studio that did Asylum, City, and Night. And WB Montreal is the team that did Arkham Origins, which also Rocksteady is making a new Suicide Squad game that's coming out next year. How do you feel basically about WB Montreal doing this game as opposed to Rocksteady? Do you feel more or less excited or nervous?
The Canadian in me is really excited because I have to be, because Canadian studio. We are the third. Here's my game facts. Canada is the 3rd largest hub for video game studios, just because there are so many studios in Canada. So I love it when a studio gets, a big project like this. As a Batman fan and an Arkham fan,
a little nervous or skeptical, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, apart from that, I guess, what are your thoughts on using the Bat family in this game as opposed to Batman? Are you excited for using these characters?
I mean, we all love Batman. We all love Bruce Wayne. We all love the brooding that he brings. However, it's great to explore all the other characters because they are so interesting on their own. Like Jason Todd, especially Red Hood, Barbara Gordon. Like, it's great whenever anything that's a superhero medium like explores things that we aren't used to seeing. So I think that was a smart way to go about the game, and especially with this co-op option explains why you would do that. Like, I would hate to see a Batman game and they're trying to do co-op and you're co-oping as Superman, because we know Batman would be there for 2 seconds and he'd disappear, right? Like it wouldn't work out. But this really gets, and it's like the core Bat family. Like, I feel like maybe on a board somewhere in Warner Brothers Montreal, they were like, okay, Catwoman. We need Catwoman in here. It doesn't make sense, but it's like, that is a character everyone tries to do when it's like a Batman game. You have to play as Catwoman, which I love her, but this makes more sense. How about you? Are you a fan of the Bat family?
I am. I'm excited. I haven't really dived into the Bat family as much. And from everything I knew about Red Hood and Arkham Knight, made me excited to kind of like delve into Jason Todd more. And then a lot of these characters like Dick Grayson, when I was a kid, I loved Robin. I wanted to be Robin, which is weird because normally you want to be Batman, but I wanted to be Batman's sidekick. So I'm excited to play as him as well. And again, it's something new. It's not always Batman. Like sometimes you can delve into different things, new characters, explore them. I'm surprised they don't have Damian Wayne in this one either, though. That would have been cool.
I was surprised with that too.
But what we know about Gotham Knights, it was never confirmed as a sequel to the Arkham games. And what you just told me before off screen is this is maybe Earth 2, and this is a different Earth than the Asylum games, or sorry, the Arkham games?
I believe so, but I mean, hey, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, we don't know exactly. We're going to dive into chapter 1, and I think relatively quick, we're going to find out if it is a sequel or not. But where we left off in Arkham Knight, Bruce died, allegedly. We don't know for sure, but he blew up Wayne Manor, and he's dead. But, as you know, in The Dark Knight Rises, he might be in an Italian coffee shop as Alfred nods at him slowly and comfortably. So you never know.
That's why we don't play as Catwoman as well. They're both just at that coffee shop enjoying a little espresso. And then
Exactly.
Alfred just does the gentle nod with the newspaper.
It's espresso. Thank you.
Oh,
very much.
sorry. Espresso.
So we're going to talk about this game being divisive. We're going to mention that, I think, in the third segment. We want to go through chapter 1 here first, and then we'll kind of give our initial thoughts. But main question of the day, can't forget about that, is how do you rank the 4 Arkham games in your mind? And I think there's only one right answer, so you better get it right.
Oh, the pressure's on. I was going to say this was easy, Nick. There is only one right answer. But now I'm scared to say what my answer is. So at the top, Arkham Asylum.
Okay, great.
Right? Night, City, and then Origins.
So Asylum is number 1 for you, the first one.
Oh, definitely.
Interesting. Even after the ending and the weird ending, I don't want to spoil it on the show, even though we should, but
it was weird, but I mean, in terms of gameplay, like how the game played and progressed, I think it was chef's kiss.
I actually, too, before starting this game, I played a little bit. I downloaded all the Arkham games because I wanted to play them again. I haven't finished them, obviously, but I started playing Arkham Asylum again. It was a PS3 game, and it was well ahead of its time.
It slapped. It was so good for its time. And that's the thing. I feel like sometimes people that may be judging my choices, Nick, you have to think back to when you first played the game, right? Because you're not going to have the excitement for Asylum after you're playing Night because of like the graphics and all that stuff. But when you look at like, you try to isolate yourself in the moment of when the game came out and what it did and like what it meant in gaming, right? That era. And that's why. Is Night number 1 for you?
I think online, the consensus is that Arkham City is the best game of the franchise.
Just because it's opened up, whatever people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, I remember playing it at a younger age now was not my favorite game. Arkham Knight was my favorite. So I need to go back and play that game now as an old adult man. I need to like see how good Arkham City really was, because I think I played it when I don't even know how old I was, but definitely not like in a developed brain stage where like now I look at everything in different light. I need to play it again so I know, because right now Arkham Knight sits top for me.
Okay.
I think it was just such a fun game.
It was.
In general.
You know what? I think also it's reflective of Arkham Knight. It was, the story was so good. It was really good. But I think the reason why Arkham City is a bit lower, if you've listened to AutoSave and you're a part of the AutoSave fam here, there's one thing that I always do not do that Nick will do. Side quest. I am not a big side quest person. With City, because it's so open, and yes, that was the crazy thing. I remember hopping back into that, like hopping in that game for the first time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you could go here, you could go here, you could take the Batmobile, like it was insane. But then it was just more the story for me that I think I didn't want to, and like I just didn't explore all the side quests. And that's probably why I like Asylum more.
Okay, that makes sense because it was more of a closed off situation.
Yeah. And I did like the crazy ending. I like the juiced up
Joker.
Yeah, I was like, is this a spoiler? But I mean, it's been a long
whatever.
time.
I know it's been 2009. It came out.
That's so 2009.
So if we went into your Xbox or your PlayStation or whatever, and we went through your played games catalog, we would see just 30% completed on everything because you just play the main story.
Don't judge me. Yeah, probably. I mean, there are games that I do, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I did all the side quests because it was just done so well. But I mean, I work full time in the gaming industry. I have to play a lot of games. You got to
go to the next game, right?
I don't have time sometimes. And especially for this, I'm going to try. This is my promise to you, Nick, and to everyone listening. I am going to try to do all the side quests.
Spoiler alert early, but there are side quests that feel very main questy.
Yes.
In this game. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, after the break, we're going to dive into Chapter 1 of Gotham Knights. Welcome back, and I need to preface this here because this game, Cam, starts with a bang, an explosive cutscene that sets up the game with Bruce dealing with an assassin in the Batcave.
If you're watching this, I'm dead.
You're a disappointment, a failure! You spent years trying to fight this war, and for what? Corruption still flourishes in Gotham, lurking in every shadow.
You don't need that mask. I know it's you, Ra's al Ghul.
You allowed this blasphemy, this sacrilege. Did you think you could keep it from me?
Holy bejeebies crapola McGee.
Bejeebies? Who says that? Okay.
Did you believe that this game would start off with a cutscene just like that? Because I didn't.
I mean, I get starting off with a bang. They want to because we all want to see Batman in some sense. If he was just gone completely, there'd be way too much mystery, I think, as a fan hopping into the game. So at least it gives that fan service of okay, you're seeing how Batman, why Batman's not in the game, right? And they did a really good job. However, it's a 30-minute, this whole section, this whole cutscene we're going to talk about is 30 minutes. 30, okay, so you sat there, you waited for the game to download, okay?
Yes.
It took some time to download, right? Not too much, but it took.
No, actually, I downloaded the night before. I had it ready to go. Sorry.
Okay, good for you. Good for you, Nick. Not all of us think ahead like that. Okay, I did not. So after waiting for it to download, I'm like, I'm gonna hop in, let it download. Oh wait, we're okay. This is a cool cutscene. I'm sitting there, like, oh, we're still going. Oh, it's still going. That was my only thing about this.
So. Right off the bat, the assassin is Ra's al Ghul. So this is already huge. This is a main Batman villain who is trying to kill Batman. He mentions that Gotham is still corrupt. Bruce looks like he tries to send beacons to the 4 Gotham Knights, but can't do it in time. And then there's some legendary badass fight between the two. Quickly, what do you think of Batman's voice? Because every time I need Kevin Conroy as Batman, and when I don't have Kevin Conroy, I get upset.
Don't get upset, but I get a little bit, I wish it was Kevin Conroy.
Right.
I thought it was okay here. It didn't bother me too much. Sometimes it's way off.
Well, guess what? We're going to play more clips from the cutscene.
What the lasers think you might have survived even this?
Unlike you, I'm not afraid of dying. I'd rather keep my humanity.
We're laughing because honestly, listening to it after watching it, and now it's so crazy.
It crazy. I'd rather lose my humanity.
It's very epic.
Yeah.
This is like House of Dragon on steroids in the DC universe.
It is. There is a lot. I do like that there's a lot of action.
One thing was I had to say was Bruce, they're fighting on top of the Batwing, and Bruce he uses his chair in the Batwing to eject himself to fling onto Ra's al Ghul.
He has a contingency plan for everything. The
I
chair
was
was
dying.
put there on purpose. No, it was so good.
He used his chair as a weapon against Ra's al Ghul. That is some ingenuity, Batman.
It's so good. But I do like that they're going for him specifically as the villain that like is really putting up a fight with Batman, because I think technically he is more skilled than Batman. So as a Bat fan, this makes sense.
That's true. You can tell in the fighting style
Yes.
that it's he's definitely a better fighter.
Yeah, and I think that's how it should be. However, I don't understand why he stabbed himself. Just a question.
Yeah, so Bruce stabs himself. It's to gain an edge. I think he knows at this point he's going to die here.
Oh, you think he already knows?
I think it's too
He
late.
won't win the
yeah,
fight.
I think he's too banged up. He's too injured right now. So I think he does know. So that's why he stabs himself, to give himself an edge, to kind of knock Ra's al Ghul, to give him some time to do some other stuff. Also in this clip, we learn that Ra's al Ghul has named Bruce his heir of the League of Shadows, which is interesting. And he mentions the Lazarus pit as kind of like, he almost says like, you could have used the pit to survive. So is he dying already? Is this something, is this like a Dumbledore moment where Dumbledore knows he's dying already? Or am I overthinking this? Because that's what he mentions.
Oh, yeah.
So
I never even
Yeah.
picked up on that because I was complaining about it being 30 minutes. But actually, I never actually picked up on that. But I would say when I heard the Lazarus Pit, I was like, oh, so this is how they're going to bring Batman back. Like,
right.
right? Because that was the
Yes.
whole thing when we were talking about it in our teaser episode. We were saying, like, I was like, or he could be really dead. And you're like,
Yes.
no, he's not dead.
Yes.
I think he's going to die, but maybe there's a chance he could come back.
So I'm going to be playing this game like as we do each episode. I'm going to be playing it with the audience.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to play ahead so I know. So I'm going to give you my best. I'm going to try to think outside the box here because I think that this story is going to be more than what it seems. So
Okay.
that's where I'm already starting here, which is the Lazarus Pit mention. And I'm going to predict that maybe Batman was already dying,
That's a good prediction.
which also makes sense about why he stabbed himself. But we'll find out more as he stumbles up the stairs.
You'll be dead before they get here. Your precious family. I will slaughter them, one by one. And when they have drawn their last breaths, I will burn the city to the ground.
You won't get a chance. Gotham is their city now.
So Bruce blows up the Batcave to stop Ra's al Ghul, kills himself in the process, I guess kills Ra's al Ghul as well, as he says it's their city now. Ooh, that's a good title to the episode. I was shocked at how this game started. Were you shocked?
I mean, I was not shocked. I was satisfied, like, with the fight scene. Lots of question marks, though. I feel like I'm going to be one of those, like, Batman fans are going to be like, hey, that's not actually what was supposed to happen. Those are the people I sometimes complain about, but I am also one of those people. So
Yes.
I was maybe shocked at some of the things that happen in this cutscene. Like I mentioned before, Batman stabbing himself. Okay, fine, to get advantage. Maybe knows he's going to die anyways. I do not understand why he would blow up the Batcave. Because Batman has a contingency for everything. And he doesn't really go kamikaze. So why? But I mean, that if that's the job that the game is supposed to do, set up the mystery, then it did succeed. I'm curious as to why Batman would have to go through that lengths, because it doesn't seem like a Batman thing to do.
The way that it's set up for me, that explained it to me, was that he has no chance of beating Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's basically said, I'm going to kill your family.
Yeah.
I'm going to go after them after I kill you. So what's the only thing that you can do if you know you're about to die is blow up the Batcave and kill Ra's al Ghul.
But why? You know that won't kill Ra's al Ghul, like, anyway.
Well, maybe it will. It flattens him to a pulp.
Like, he has a Lazarus pit. Like, this is the thing. He gets away with the Lazarus. Like, he dies so many times and uses the Lazarus pit to revive himself. That's why he's, like, gone. He's kind of crazy, because it takes away your sanity in a bit every time you use the pit. So, to me, Batman would know that, and there would be something else he could do.
Interesting.
Also, I'm not a fan of Ra's al Ghul's voice. I don't know.
No, not
That's
a fan?
just me. No.
Okay. So why is Ra's al Ghul so angry? Do you know? Like, what's your theory on that? Like, what's going on in this story that we don't know at the moment, in your opinion?
He's upset. You know, Batman was with the League of Shadows for a while, and then Ra's al Ghul's like, okay, look, you're going to be the next leader. Batman's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Not really. I'm going to go and, like, do my own thing. Thanks for the offer. And then he's like, wait, are you serious? I invested so much time. That's it. I'm going to kill you. That is what's happening right now.
But also, why are you making Batman the leader of the League of Shadows? Like,
I mean, that's his MO, though. He always try. He thinks that Batman is so skilled. He is the only one worthy enough to be the leader of the League of Shadows, which is why, you know, that whole thing with Talia, and why Batman was supposed to be a part of that family. But yeah, I mean, it didn't happen. Honestly, I have no idea what's going on here. It's question marks for me. My detective, I am not the best detective, so this is going to be interesting in this game. But yeah, I have no idea. But I like your theory, so I'm just going to piggyback off that.
Okay, well, let's see what happens. I don't know. The Knights show up, by the way, too late. Bruce is dead. They find his body, which, let's be honest here, there's no way a body would be completely intact after an explosion like that. Like, come on. Like, his, like, limbs must be torn off. Like, his faces probably should be flattened. There's no way and both of them, Ra's al Ghul is dead too, and his body is completely intact as well. I call BS on that. Let's see some gore and blood and make this R-rated.
I mean, hey, I will say there are parts in this game where I'm like, oh, that is really gory and bloody. So I feel like we're going to get to that a little later. It's just pretty sad. Like, one thing I did like when they were trying to find Batman's body, like, they're going around the now destroyed Batcave, and they kind of, when they find his mask, they find the cowl, and then they hop over a bunch of rocks, but, like, all of them do it their own way. I thought that was really cool.
That's a good point that I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look at that. But that's really cool. I like that aspect. It's all different the way they do that.
Yeah.
Batman leaves a message on what the crew can do next as they start their new operation in the Belfry Tower with some tech that's a little bit outdated, but they can use it as well. Jacob Kane does a speech at Bruce's funeral, and I'll be honest, I did not know that Bruce had an uncle. I know of Jacob Kane, didn't know that was his uncle. My bad. But also, I thought he had no family at all.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's why he's brooding all the time. But I think Jacob Kane, and I don't know too much about him, but I do know, like, he's Bruce's uncle or like lineage or something like that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think it's like distant, which is why, it's distant, which is why, like, later you hear the Bat family talk about Jacob Kane did the eulogy. Like, why would Dick Grayson allow that kind of thing?
Well, speaking of that, the Knights do assemble in front of Bruce's grave with all their gear on, which is kind of weird. But this is where you get an introduction to each character.
She has the body of Batman's killer in her morgue. Ra's al Ghul is listed as a John Doe, slated for cremation.
And what if the League of Shadows finds him? If they drop their dear leader in a Lazarus pit, he won't be so dead anymore.
You want to break into the GCPD headquarters for a what if? Be my guest.
I decrypted the case Batman sent with his message. We should focus on that.
I looked it over, but did I get everything? It doesn't look complete.
I think Ra's interrupted him while he was writing.
He says this has implications that could shake Gotham to its core.
Ominous, but not exactly helpful. I saw a few places we should poke around. Construction sites, a quarry.
He also mentioned a Dr. Langstrom. Anyone know him?
He's a zoologist at Gotham University. Not sure what his connection is, though.
Let's divide up the work. We can meet at the Belfry when we're done. Get it up and running.
So the GCPD have Ra's al Ghul's body. Nightwing mentions a Dr. Langstrom who performed Ra's autopsy. So we have to do some digging, but this is where you can pick the character you want to choose to play at the start of the game. Each have their own special attributes and characteristics. They tell you as you slide through each character. Who did you pick? What are some of the reasons why you wanted to pick who you wanted to pick at the start of the game?
I knew going into the game, I would pick Batgirl, just because I've always been a Batgirl fan. I have some statues of Batgirl. It just made sense. It was a toss-up between Red Hood and Batgirl. I wasn't too sure who I would go with.
I wanted to play Nightwing. We talked about this before we played the game, what characters we wanted to divvy up.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to play Batgirl, Red Hood. I wanted to play Nightwing. Don't really care about Robin, so I took him. I don't really care, but Tim Drake, whatever, who cares? But Nightwing is somebody I wanted to play as Dick. I like his kind of acrobatic style as well from what I saw from the gameplay before we started playing, so that was interesting to me. I also want to mention that throughout this game, and I'll probably mention it again in the next episode, there's 4 different characters. They can have 4 different kind of paths, I guess, or character monologues, whatever you hear in these clips. I'm going to be playing predominantly as Nightwing in my episodes, and I think Cam is going to be probably playing predominantly Batgirl in her playthrough. So again, each their own. There could be different scenarios for you. If you're playing Red Hood, if you're playing Robin, let us know what you think, but this is the main story that we're going to go through with mostly these characters.
I will say I'm very excited to play as Batgirl, but also I question a little bit of things that's happening here. So they talk about Dr. Kirk Langstrom. How do they not know that's Man-Bat? Like, this is some of the things. And it's hard because right now I may be like sounding like I'm too judgy, but I think these are common questions that like fans of Batman may also ask because you're not too sure of when this takes place. Like, how long has the Bat family been the Bat family? And they do have access to Bruce Wayne's computer, like all the information. So like, I guess this is before he becomes Man-Bat. I don't know.
Well, he's dead though. So
Earth 2, welcome. Or whatever Earth this is. Different, you never know what.
Yes.
So it's like really, I think what the game is trying to do is tell us like, don't expect what you usually expect because they may turn it upside down on you.
That's a good point. Well, Langstrom is dead for now. We don't know for sure if he'll come back as Man-Bat. Maybe not. But our next step is going to the office for some clues. Once you get there, it's time to do some detective work. You could use your AR targeting scanner to scan some objects for clues. It's kind of fun. I don't think it's as dynamic maybe as the Arkham games, but I don't want to compare it too much to it. But it's still kind of fun to kind of do some detective work. And as you do some more sleuthing, you end up in Langstrom's lab where he died.
This is where Langstrom died. You'd think the GCPD would still be all over this lab. Looks like Langstrom was attacked at his workstation. He lost a lot of blood. He tried to get away, and then the attacker pinned him to the wall. Brutal. Langstrom spent his final moments crawling toward that cabinet. Why didn't he try to leave the lab?
Well, that's not a good way to die. And as we heard maybe before, go ahead.
That's not a good way to die. I mean, yeah, his blood is like splattered all over the place. This is the part that I was saying I wasn't expecting it to be as bloody as it was.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, it was kind of disturbing, right?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the Court of Owls?
I know a little. I don't know a lot.
Okay. So, I mean, before this game came out, it was released, I guess, that the Court of Owls would be part of this game, which is it's a very popular villain group, part of the new age Batman, I would say. More of the newer comics, and the comics are really good. I actually read this one. But this is how they kill their victims, which is pinning them to the wall like that. So I'm guessing, obviously, I've heard all the rumors. It's clearly the Court of Owls that did this. So sorry, spoiler alert, but
not really a spoiler alert. I mean, they were teasing Court of Owls before they revealed that it was Gotham Knights. And then also they kind of marketed before the game came out that Court of Owls is in it. So I think you're okay. Not a spoiler, but very gruesome. Very gruesome.
Very gruesome. There's a hidden door where you have to find this keypad numbers to unlock. And this is where your clue system come into work, where you have to match these clues together. How did you find this? Kind of like looking at the digits on the wall and figuring out how to get Langstrom's codes.
I'm usually good with puzzles. Not a good detective as I thought I would be. I pretty much guessed. Random inputs.
I thought that you had to like really specifically like
That's what
if
I
you
thought
have one
too.
guess, you're wrong. Until I realized that I can just mix and match.
Yeah.
And so I just spammed until I got the right answer, which is bad.
Yeah, because I was looking on the pin pad to see if there was like something written or like near his tablet. I was like, is there something written near it that would tell you, like give you a hint to what number to look for? Like this movie comes out, or like, you know what I mean? Because like there's the poster, there's the microwave, So I was just guessing.
In his secret lab, you find all kinds of weird species that looks like they were being experimented on. Again, it makes sense. Man-Bat, kind of same little experiments on people. We find a hard drive that we need to bring back to the Belfry. And once you exit, you see some thugs trashing some buildings around. And this is our chance, Cam, to beat up some baddies. This is kind of like our tutorial walkthrough system of the combat system, which I don't want to get too much involved in, but give me just one thought on the combat system.
So I was playing as Batgirl. Like I mentioned, I have lots of Batgirl statues.
Yes.
I know a little bit about her, you know. I was shocked at when she had the tonfa, like the little because I don't know when she got those or if she uses them in like other comic books or anything like that. So I was a bit skeptical going in. But I actually like her moveset. I like it. She's quick.
I do like that they have the slow-mo back from... It's kind of different, but it's still similar, is when you fight the last enemy, you get like a nice slow-mo fight combo, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I do like that aspect of it as well. And again, playing as Dick Grayson, he's got those acrobatic moves because he used to be in the circus. So they definitely honed in on that, which is pretty cool. But you follow a trail of more bad guys. They're holding some people hostages. And this is where we get a mini boss where we have to fight a giant man with a shield.
Why is he so giant? And where did he
He's
get
so
that
big.
giant shield? This was like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh no, it's going to be one of these. Because if you've played any of the other Arkham games, you know it's like you have to like kind of hit their shield up or like knock them back so they lose balance, like that kind of thing. But for this, I was struggling a little bit. I got knocked down a few times.
This one is pretty easy. Come on, Cam. What's going on here? Normally you're the one shaming me, but now the turntables.
The turntables have turned.
Once you beat them, though, that's basically it for 1.1 as you head back to the Belfry. And I'm going to be saying this a lot in this game. We head back to the Belfry.
Wasn't sure you were coming, Alfred.
I'll always be here when you need me, Master Richard. when any of you need me.
I'm glad you're here.
As am I, Master Tim. This place does need work.
Damn it! We've got activity all over the city.
Sweet. Looks like my plan wins.
Hold up. We still need the intel. And Alfred can't exactly set this place up alone.
Indeed, Miss Gordon. I have a list of supplies we'll need. I could do it on my own, but it would be faster if I had help.
You can count on us, Alfred. We'll divvy it up. Let's finish what Bruce started.
It's Alfred. Oh my
Alfred
God.
Pennyworth, and he's not played by Michael Caine. Not cool.
He's not played by Michael Caine.
Not played by. That was so good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Were you excited to see him? I was waiting for the point where you're going to see Alfred.
Yeah, I was, because up until this point, they explained Alfred was on vacation. The only time he took vacation conveniently is the time that Batman dies. So that just proves it's not Batman who's the hero. It is Alfred Pennyworth that is the hero.
Wow.
That is the glue that brings the Bat family together. Yeah, so I was happy to see him because he needed some time to obviously grieve. But I feel like he's going to like, obviously Belfry is going to be like your hub. So I feel like he's going to be the guy in the hub that gives us upgrades and stuff like that.
So did you see this at all? Because I totally did. This team is basically the Ninja Turtles. Like to a T, especially that cutscene specifically. It's Leo versus Raph. Raph is Red Hood, who is like the brooding asshole.
Yeah.
Leo, aka Dick Grayson, is the leader, and they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Also, the colors are the exact same.
Colors are exactly the same, yeah.
Then who's trying to break it up? Mikey, aka Tim Drake, aka Robin.
Yeah.
And then who's the Brainiac, and no one knows exactly
Wearing
everything
purple.
about the Brainiac stuff. Wearing purple is
Batgirl, yeah. I mean, now that you put it that way, hell yeah.
It's literally the Ninja
They
Turtles.
are TMNT right there. I love it. And Master Splinter, Alfred.
Yeah, Master Splinter is Alfred.
Yep. Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
good.
I can't unsee this now.
Now you're going to think about it all the time. And the more and more these cutscenes go through, I'm going to keep seeing just the Ninja Turtles. Skill tree. We get some challenges. We can also change our gear and abilities. One note here for me is that I love that we can customize gear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you agree or not.
I do you know what? I love customizing gear. However, classic Camille move, I do like keeping things how I think they're supposed to be.
No, you didn't. There's so much customization in this game.
I know. It's a problem. I've been trying, okay, my whole life. But I have to play games as though I think they want us to play the game how it's supposed to be. Sorry.
But we upgrade gear, though. So are you upgrading the gear with the same look?
Yeah.
Okay. That is just horrible. I am judging you so hard because there are some cool costumes
there
that are way cooler
really cool
than the
costumes.
original ones.
I can't. And then I always have that hesitation, like, because, jumping into this game the first time, I have not tried it. I probably should have. But games sometimes, when they give you customization, the cutscene, there's one of two things that could happen. The costume is way too cool for the cutscene, that it just stands out way too much. And then I can't take the cutscenes seriously. Or two, when you are in those upgraded, like the upgraded gear, those customizable costumes, when you go to the cutscene, you're back in the regular stuff. So that's why I don't even bother. Okay, I've been like stung too hard by games where it's like you get into a cutscene and it's like, oh, where's your customized, like where's your upgraded costume?
I don't even think I noticed. It changes back.
I don't. No. I'm saying one of two things could happen in video games. I don't know what it does here, but this is why I don't commit to. I have a problem I've been ordering the same burger from McDonald's all my life.
You
I don't
need some
stray.
change sometimes.
I don't stray from anything.
All right. Oh, well, in 1.2, the Langstrom Drive, we have to wait for the Belfry to properly get online in order to see what's on the drive. So this is where we get to roam the streets for the first time. We fight some bad guys. We can get some clues. And we also get our bat cycle or whatever it's called, but we get a motorcycle, which is super badass. I don't know how you think of it, but I love using this motorcycle.
It is really cool. And honestly, I think it drives pretty well. Like, it drives well.
Once we get the Belfry back online, Alfred tells us that the Langstrom Drive requires both biodecryption and the body is in the morgue. So we have to go and get him for a fleshy sample. That's nice. So this is where we sneak our way into the GCPD without getting detected. There's also some cameras you have to avoid. And once we get to the morgue, we notice that there's already been someone here. And they're hovering over Ra's al Ghul's body.
Belfry, Talia al Ghul is here.
Copy. Be careful.
You know you can't beat me. My beloved has trained you well.
Pretty sure he told you to stay out of Gotham.
Dead men's wishes don't concern me. Besides, I'm here to clean up my father's mess. Which in this case is the demon himself.
You're just burning him? Might be hard to bring Ra's back if he's Ash, Talia. Even a Lazarus pit has some limits. Wait. Why was he after Bruce? Ninjas.
So Talia destroys her dad's body.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I mean, if he didn't choose me as leader, next successor for the League of Shadows, maybe I'd do the same.
That's true. There's something fishy going on here. Why would she destroy her dad's body, though? I don't know. She also says, like, your beloved has trained you well. Or my beloved, sorry. So I guess the Batman and her were a thing as well.
Yeah, I guess they're keeping that storyline because obviously we know that if you don't know, you may not know that there is this history between the two of them because Batman was in the League or trained by the League of Shadows. And I guess Damian Wayne is not a thing yet as well.
No.
Right? Because she didn't mention her son or anything like that. And you don't see him.
Well, at all. Maybe, yeah, Batman's dead, so maybe he doesn't have the son, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Back to Langstrom's body, and we have to, again, do the solving another clue, decryption key. He ends up hiding it in a glucose monitor for his diabetes, which is pretty morbid. After finding out he hid it in the glucose meter, as I said, it sounds an alarm and it's time to run from the GCPD. And what we find out also is you don't get any XP from attacking the GCPD, which kind of makes sense, I guess. So I just ran the F out of there because I didn't want to fight nobody if I'm not getting no AXP. And guess what? We head back to the Belfry.
While researching Langstrom, I also called up all we've got on our party crasher.
Talia al Ghul. She was a match for Master Bruce in more ways than one. Her presence in Gotham is concerning.
So's the fact that she torched her old man's body. We sure that was Ra's al Ghul?
His DNA was all over the weapon she left behind.
I wonder why she didn't take a chance and use a Lazarus pit to revive him.
Well, Batman would just find Talia and ask her himself.
Good thinking.
Yeah, I can double-check Talia's kunai for trace materials that we can track.
We should also hit the streets. Find out if anyone had any beef with Langstrom.
Sweet. Time to bust some skulls.
Time to bust some skulls.
Nice one, Raph.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love how it's like, oh, we should, Batman would go just talk to her. We should do that too. I love that that's their answer. And they're all like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh my gosh, they make it seem like Batman's not a whiz kid. Yeah, no, but I mean, good plan. Go find out from the source, right? But I have no idea what is going on. Like, I don't know her reasoning. And I'm actually very curious about that.
There's got to be a backup plan here.
Yeah, Roz was like, hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go into the Batcave. I'm going to act like I'm going to, like, kill Batman. He may kill me in the process, but then we're going to use that as a distraction because there's a bigger thing that is, like, that, you know, he has to do. And that is actually... So now that I think about it, you know, I was saying like Batman wouldn't like kill himself or like just go straight to like destroying the Batcave.
Yes.
But Ra's al Ghul would. He would be like, all right, just kill me.
Yeah.
Because it's for the greater good of the mission of the League of Shadows. Just saying.
And then, yeah, he could just revive himself again in the Lazarus pit.
So maybe he's not the one that's like, maybe he's the one that's like dead, but he did it for a good reason.
Well, I don't know because she burned his body. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
This is all strange. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta say something.
Okay. Yes.
The way that Alfred walks out of the cutscene, I don't trust him. Why did they like? They focused on him, and he looked mischievous. I know. You think it's like a shapeshifter?
No, he's not a shapeshifter. But if you don't trust him, that means that he knew of this plan, which conveniently, tinfoil hats now, conveniently, he went on vacation. Like, is that when have we seen Alfred on vacation anywhere? And the one time we've seen Alfred on vacation, he was just next to Bruce, who was supposed to be dead, okay? In Paris, okay? So maybe he wasn't on vacation, but that's the story that Bruce and him decided to go with to explain why Alfred couldn't be there to help Master Bruce out. And then this is all like a fake death thing. Who knows? Jacob Kane may be in on it. Everyone in Gotham knows.
Jacob Kane is my number one prime suspect already. I'll tell you that
Jim
much.
Gordon may be raised from the dead. We don't know who's in on this
dead.
conspiracy.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, he's dead.
We don't know who's in. But, yeah, I mean...
Now you're talking my language.
If you don't trust him...
Now you're talking my language.
I feel like then that means this was all a part of Batman's plan.
That's a good point.
Maybe this is the big contingency.
Also, theory is that Batman is not dead. So,
well, yeah, I mean, he's
watch
not.
out for that.
Yeah, he may not be dead. If you don't trust Alfred, I think this is eye-opening too. This may be a part of the bigger Batman contingency. He needed to fake his own death in order to really understand and find out who is a part of the Court of Owls.
Anyway, that leads us down to 1.3 Weird Science. We get to interrogate some criminals, find out some more information to fill out the evidence board for Langstrom and his experiments. And of course, we have to talk to Talia. You can free roam here if you want. There's a bunch of enemy factions. You can investigate murders. You can do some side missions. But of course, Cam likes sticking to the story. So let's stick to the story and talk to Talia.
Why would Raish kill his next in line? None of this makes sense.
I agree. It was an irrational whim. I warned him the Batman would be his downfall. But repeated exposure to the Lazarus pits breaks down a subject's mind. Eventually, their true self is erased.
I know you, Talia. You could have used your father as a puppet if you wanted to. There's something else here.
Consider it a logical choice. A painless end for him and closure for the League. And for me. Now they want me dead.
Why don't you just move on then? Take a vacay in Fiji. Leave Gotham.
I have other matters to attend to.
Don't take a vacation. We know what happens when you take a vacation, Talia. Don't do it.
Hey, but Nightwing is on our side here.
Yeah.
He's saying this isn't so simple. Okay, there's got to be more here, and I think he's right.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, she's basically saying, "Oh no, this is how it should be." But she mentions how Raish is like crazy, I guess, because he's been exposed to the Lazarus pit so many times.
Do we think Batman would but partner with the League of Shadows to go after a bigger threat, the Court of Owls. But I mean, then why stage that epic 30-minute fight scene?
Yeah. If that 30-minute epic fight scene meant nothing, Cam is going to be pissed.
I mean, it was cool. But no, like, I mean, it just seems all too convenient. And this is classic Batman, right? Like, so I think WB really does hit this right. Classic Batman always has you guessing, like, whose motives are what, right? Like, why and like what is going on? It's not so clear cut. And they never, like, villains never tell you the full story at once. Right. So I do like that they kind of stuck with this. We're both talking about it. We have our tinfoil hats on. We're theorizing, and it's getting me excited for the story of this game.
Yeah, what is Talia up to? I want to know. But we can only theorize at this point. We get a message from the Belfry that they got a message from Harley Quinn addressed to Batman. So that's not good. But that's where we're going to leave it off for this week's episode, because we have to talk a lot about the mechanics of the game on the flip side after the break on AutoSave. Welcome back to AutoSave, and Cam, let's break down how we feel about this game so far. Number one for me is the combat system is the most divisive part of the entire game right now from the audience and what we see on Twitter. Again, this is happening in real time because the game just came out last week. What do you think about the combat system personally?
Okay, I do like playing as Batgirl, how fast she is. She's really fast. We have that Brute with Red Hood. We have like the more methodical combat with Nightwing. And then you have like more agility, I would guess, with Robin, and of course with Batgirl. Yes. So I do like the movesets. I like that slow-mo that you were talking about earlier. It's really cool. However, it feels like it's a bit janky at sometimes.
Yes.
And I know, like, up until like walking around and stuff, I don't really notice that it's 30 FPS, right? However, I feel like when you're actually in the thick of combat, that's when you're noticing like it's a little jumpy, and you notice that like you're locked into that 30 frames per second.
And people are very upset about the 30 frames because this is a next gen game.
Yeah.
And you know, people are complaining that Arkham Knight has better FPS than this game does. Why is that the case? And what's the reasoning? Is it because they're solely putting this whole thing together in terms of co-op? So I'm guessing that's why the frame rate is down.
I don't know, honestly, because you look at the game, right? Like even when you're riding around Gotham, those puddles, and this is something like people, you're talking next gen, you got to talk about the reflections and the puddles, but they look beautiful. Like it looks like next gen. The cutscenes look decent, right? It's just a different style than I would prefer. I would want something more realistic. Like when it comes to like the actual characters, I would want something a little bit more detailed, but I still think the environments in this game look really good and look next gen. I think it's just next gen could be a lot to work with. And with everything that they're doing with the game, I think they had to kind of lock it into 30 so that it could come out when they want it to.
I'll be honest, I don't care. Like the graphic situation for me is not a complaint whatsoever. I still think it looks nice. There can be glitches sometimes. I got stuck into a wall.
Oh, really?
But that happens. Yeah, at one point I got stuck into a wall while I was trying to climb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just came out, so.
Yes. And the combat, like, it reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy that we played last year in terms of, it seems like a great story from what I see so far.
Yeah.
But it just, the controls just seem so hard on my, like, hands.
Like,
and that's what I don't like.
It isn't of the combat, like for the controls for combat, isn't the most comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm having to, when I spam fighting, I feel like I'm just constantly having to press.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel loose. And I think like with games like Spider-Man, the Arkham games, everything always felt so light. And that's what I enjoy from a game. When the controls feel heavy, I have a problem with. So that's kind of the difficulty I have, but I don't have a problem with the graphics, and I don't have a problem with the game in general. I still think it's a fun game through the first mission that we played. However, the voice acting does seem a little robotic and blocky at times. It still seems okay, but sometimes I feel like they could have done a little bit better in terms of voice acting. It does seem very robotic.
Yeah, that's fair. I think for the most part, though, the voices are decent. I would actually say Jacob Kane, Tommy Earl Jenkins. So the voice sounded familiar to me because at first I was like, is it Giancarlo Esposito? Like, it sounds a little bit like him, but not like as like powerful of a voice as him. So I had to look it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why does this voice sound so familiar? Tom Earl Jenkins plays Die Hard Man in Death Stranding. So if you're thinking the same thing as me, like, this is familiar, that is why.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. Something that's related to that, character design.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the character design? I don't like personally the way some of these characters look as humans.
In terms of the Bat family, or like as
In
humans?
terms of the Bat family.
They are humans. What do
Sorry.
like in plain clothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Them in their costume look really cool. I love the way they look.
Yeah.
But specifically Tim Drake and Jason Todd kind of look cartoony and weird, because I'm also picturing the Arkham games look, and they look so sick in that game. And here they kind of look cartoony.
Jason Todd, yeah, I guess so. Tim Drake, I would say Dick Grayson reminds me of like a emo Edward Cullen-esque inspired character when he's in plain clothes. So that was the only one that really stood out for me. But like, I mean, Tim Drake, I wasn't really too bothered by, but I might not have been paying attention to him. And I wasn't too distracted by their plain clothes. I was distracted. I do love the Bat family's costume. Did not love Batman's costume. I was a little bit distracted with that, but
Agreed.
I do think it is inspired by Earth 2. If this is Earth 2.
Okay.
So,
just
not my cup of tea.
That makes more sense. And I think we got to dive more into Earth 2 if you know a little bit more about it. Because I don't. And that's an interesting angle to it. Last things for me, I like the ability tree and the gear customization. I think that's really cool. I do enjoy that this game plays as like each night, where you have to go out on watch and then you head back to the Belfry. I really like that aspect as well.
Yeah, and I will say, like, if you're trying to hop into the game first and you're like, where's co-op? I can't do co-op. You can't unlock it until you're done your first night in Gotham. So just keep that in mind.
And then clearly it's not an Arkham sequel. We have come to the conclusion that it is its own thing, which I think is probably the best call.
Yes.
I think that's some of why the audience is so upset about it. But you can't compare this to something else related in the series when they're two different things.
Yeah.
And I think people need to come to grips with that.
Yeah. And that's why I said off the top, I'm just going to hop into this game. Yeah, I have my hesitations as well based off of being in gaming media and hearing like the early reviews of the game. But when I hop into a game, and I hope you as well, listening, you should just go in with zero expectations. Just try to enjoy it, or like just take it for what it is. We're all going to have a different perspective of it. So I'm not going to try to compare it to Arkham. I will, however, compare it to every other Batman property that I know, except for the video games.
Cool. Yeah. We'll see how that goes, because I think we're in for a surprise in this game. Before we go, want to shout out producer Greg for all his hard work behind the scenes. Really appreciate what you do, getting these clips together, dealing with us on a regular basis. Thank you so much. But for next week's episode, we're diving in to Harley Quinn, and we'll see what she's up to. Probably some mischief next time on AutoSave.
That's so 2009.